This is The Minimum Commitment, film theory in small doses, where violence pirouettes and color speaks louder than dialogue. I'm Don Lawler, film scholar, audio obsessive, and someone who sees orange and blue as two sides of the same coin. Let's get into it. We've walked with John Wick through every frame of his myth, from the blood-soaked clubs to the echoing halls of the high table, from the grief of a lost wife to the quiet peace found at the end of a gun. 4 films built a legend, and legends eventually must rest. But the world doesn't sleep. It shifts. It listens for a new rhythm. And this time, the story isn't his. It belongs to her. Eve doesn't step into the ruins of John Wick's legacy. She emerges from the same foundation. Trained in the shadows, disciplined like a weapon, molded by rituals we've only glimpsed until now. Ballerina doesn't rehash what came before, it reveals what was always there. A parallel path, forged by the same system, but finally told from a different angle. It's not about replacing John Wick. It's about showing us the other side of the coin. Ballerina opens the door, not to more of the same, but to a new performance of violence, sung by a different voice in the same brutal choir. In film, color isn't decoration. It's language, and in Ballerina, that language is fluent. Director Len Wiseman leans heavily into complementary colors, specifically orange and blue. In color theory, they're opposites on the wheel. Emotionally, they signal tension and balance. Throughout the film, Eve, played with grace and gravity by Ana de Armas, is bathed in blue during moments of clarity, stillness, and safety. It's the glow of LED streetlights, cool-toned interiors, or of stained glass washing over her in silence. When the violence starts, those tones shift. She is surrounded by warm yellows, fiery oranges, and flashes of red. The red shows up in thresholds, doorways, hallways, places she must pass through to continue forward, like danger framed and waiting. And at the very end of the film, a pair of green doors, vivid and unmistakable. She walks through them alone, and if cinema speaks in semiotics, then green here means something new, rebirth, renewal, and forward momentum. It's the end of one path and the beginning of another. For 4 chapters, John Wick built a very specific mythology. A man broken by grief, powered by vengeance, held together by his suit and his silence. He was precise. He was controlled. He was mythic. Ballerina takes that myth and opens it up. Eve's story mirrors John's, but it's filtered through a different lens, one of emotional transparency. Her rage is raw, her grief visible, her trauma acknowledged. She isn't a silent soldier. She is a woman who fights because the world gave her no other option. We've seen the rise of female-led action films over the past decade, from Atomic Blonde to The Old Guard to Furiosa. Ballerina joins them, not just in subject, but in tone. This is a film that doesn't hide its gendered perspective. It embraces it. It lets it sharpen the edges, not by softening the violence, but by reframing it. Here, violence isn't about domination. It's about control. It's about expression. A physical vocabulary shaped by discipline, pain, and purpose. Violence in Ballerina isn't just physical, it's designed. Every punch, kick, and gunshot is part of a rhythm, a language of movement and sound. And speaking of the sound, it's loud, obsessively layered. Bodies hit the ground with the kind of thud you don't just hear, you feel it in your bones. The mix exaggerates reality, turning each moment of violence into something heightened and theatrical. It is not subtle, but it's not supposed to be. In a film where choreography replaces dialogue and emotion is expressed in motion, the sound design becomes part of the performance. Each impact becomes punctuation. Each gunshot, a spotlight. It is sound design that demands attention. In ballet, every movement tells a story. In Ballerina, violence functions the same way. Each fight scene is structured like a performance. There are beats and rhythm and momentum. Punches don't just land, they punctuate. Dodges, leaps, and reversals aren't improvisation, they are choreography. Yes, some sequences are predictable, and yes, the formula is familiar. But the beauty lies in the precision. Just as in the film 300, where battle becomes ballet, Ballerina frames each brawl as an expression of identity. She's not just fighting her way through a plot. She's dancing through a language of rage, loss, and self-definition. The title isn't symbolic. It's literal. Ballerina doesn't reinvent the action genre. It reorients it. It pivots the lens away from legacy and toward possibility. With color, choreography, and a lead who bleeds differently, it doesn't just echo what came before, it challenges it. This is a story told in motion, in grace, fury, and instinct. It says, the future of the franchise doesn't need to mirror the past. It needs to evolve, to expand, to move. And sometimes, movement is the message. That's your thought for the day. Minimum commitment, maximum meaning. See you next time. The Minimum Commitment is produced, recorded, and edited by Don Lawler. Music by Art Against Agony.